Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here with us today because we are looking at a massive, massive transformation happening right inside your personal computer. When you think about upgrading to Windows 11, it's pretty easy to just assume it's, well, a fresh coat of paint and some shiny new features. But looking at the source material, it is actually way more dramatic than that. Microsoft isn't just redecorating here. They are aggressively cleaning house. They're stripping away legacy code, retiring those outdated apps, and completely re-engineering the whole operating system from the ground up. So, picture this. Have you ever updated your computer, gone looking for a trusty tool that you've used for literally years and thought, wait, where did my favorite Windows app go? It's a highly, highly relatable frustration. You press a button expecting Cortana to listen, or, you search for WordPad to jot down some rich text, and you just find empty space. For anyone making the jump from Windows 10 to Windows 11, this is a very real experience. Some of our absolute oldest software friends are simply gone. And that brings us to what we actually get in return. This sleek, perfectly centered modern Windows 11 interface. But getting this beautiful setup demands some really hard sacrifices to achieve that design consistency and performance. To push the operating system forward, to make it lighter, faster, and way more secure, well, Microsoft had to cut the dead weight. So let's dive into Section 1, the app graveyard, and saying goodbye to Windows 10 staples. All right, here are the prominent apps that have officially flatlined or basically lost their prime real estate on your machine. WordPad, a classic that has literally been with us for decades, was completely removed starting in the 24H2 update. Paint 3D, removed from the Microsoft Store in November 2024. Cortana has been entirely replaced by modern voice access and AI. Windows Mixed Reality, also deprecated in 24H2. Oh, and the math input panel is gone too. Though, let's be honest, I have a feeling very few of us are truly going to mourn that one. But what's really fascinating here is the key distinction between dead and demoted. While older apps like 3D Viewer technically still exist as optional downloads in the store, they are no longer part of your default out-of-the-box Windows experience. Microsoft is strictly defining what actually makes the cut. Now, this wasn't just some overnight purge, right? It is a meticulously planned multi-year roadmap. Back in 2022, Internet Explorer 11 was retired. By early 2024, the cross-device timeline sync was entirely halted. Then, late 2024 brought the major 24H2 purge of WordPad and Mixed Reality, followed closely by Paint 3D in November. And if we look ahead to August 2025, even legacy IT components, like PowerShell 2.0, are going to be entirely removed. This timeline perfectly shows how Microsoft is just methodically executing this changing of the guard. Moving right along to Section 2, the big replacements and meeting your new daily drivers. Let's think about a major headache from Windows 10, taking screenshots. The whole situation was just highly fragmented. We had the old snipping tool, plus a newer app called Snip and Sketch that actually introduced the really beloved Windows plus Shift plus S shortcut. It was so confusing having two tools that basically did the exact same thing. Well, in Windows 11, Snip and Sketch as a standalone app is gone. Instead, Microsoft merged the absolute best of both into one unified, super powerful snipping tool. It keeps your favorite keyboard shortcut, but now adds screen recording, a delay timer, and even optical character recognition, so you can extract text right from your images. A real game changer. Now for the IT professionals and power users tuning in, don't worry, your old enterprise habits have direct modern replacements. Still using WMIC commands? Well, it's time to fully embrace modern PowerShell. Relying on the old Windows timeline, Microsoft is now pointing you straight to Edge browsing history and Microsoft 365 recent files. Using Windows Information Protection, you'll definitely want to migrate over to Intune App Protection. And for the everyday user, the loss of WordPad simply means choosing between Notepad for your plain text or Microsoft Word for rich document formatting. So, every deprecated feature actually has a much more powerful, modern solution waiting in the wings. And Microsoft addresses this friction directly. Regarding the exit of Cortana, they officially stated, "We understand this may affect the way you work, but there are new and exciting ways you can get help." And honestly, this perfectly explains why the old had to be cleared out. You just can't innovate if you are constantly dragging a decade of legacy code right behind you. Okay, Section 3, Taskbar and Interface Shifts, or, as we like to call it, the visual cleansing. So, to accommodate new physical keyboard attach and detach postures, the really rigid interface paradigms of the past had to go. For example, that dedicated tablet mode from Windows 10 completely removed, replaced by way more fluid automatic system adjustments. Even the quick status updates you used to see on your lock screen have been totally stripped away, all to give you a much cleaner, distraction-free environment. And that brings us to some of the most rigid changes Microsoft enforced to guarantee peak performance. Remember those flipping, animated live tiles in the Start menu? Gone, completely replaced by a dedicated widgets panel. The taskbar is now rigidly locked to the bottom of the screen. You literally can no longer align it to the sides or the top. The people feature on the taskbar, removed entirely. Third-party apps can no longer customize taskbar areas, and the Start menu layout itself is absolutely no longer resizable. Basically, Microsoft sacrificed all these legacy customizations to enforce a totally uniform, highly optimized, and incredibly predictable user experience. Which leads us to Section 4, the AI era, and making way for Copilot+. So the crucial point is, why risk frustrating users by removing so many familiar tools and visual customizations? Well, because all this digital house cleaning was the absolutely necessary groundwork for the heavy integration of artificial intelligence. But to participate fully in this new era, there are strict new physical hardware baselines. To actually qualify as a true Copilot+ PC, your machine needs to pass 3 specific steps. Step 1, you need a processor featuring a neural processing unit, or NPU, capable of 40+ trillion operations per second. That is massive. Step 2, a minimum of 16 gigabytes of incredibly fast DDR5 memory. And step 3, at least 256 gigabytes of SSD storage. So this isn't just a software update, it is a fundamental, ground-up shift in computing hardware requirements. But once you actually have that hardware, you immediately understand exactly why those legacy tools were shown at the door. The classic MS Paint, it now features Co-Creator and Generative Fill, literally allowing you to create and alter images using just AI text prompts. Live captions can instantly translate video and audio from over 40 languages into English in real time. Windows Studio Effects uses that specific NPU chip to auto-frame your webcam and correct your eye contact, so you literally always appear to be looking right at the camera. And Voice Access offers incredible, fully offline voice control of your entire PC. And tying the whole shebang together is Microsoft Copilot itself. This is the absolute ultimate evolution of Windows assistants. This moves us light years beyond Cortana's basic, rigid voice commands. Copilot allows you to ask incredibly complex, highly contextual questions and receive these beautifully succinct answers backed by trusted, reliable citations from across the web and your own documents. It's not just a neat little feature. It is a deeply integrated digital assistant designed to literally give you back hours of your day by streamlining all that complex problem solving. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer, as Windows aggressively clears out the comfortable tools of the past to build this high-powered, incredibly exciting AI future. Which legacy app from the graveyard will you miss the most? And looking at those really strict hardware demands of Copilot+, are you physically and technically ready for what's next? Take a moment to really think about your own setup and exactly how your daily workflow is about to evolve. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep exploring.